Questlove Show is a production of iHeart Radio. I promise you people that that I haven't traded drumming in for bass, but what a coinky dink. Here we are. Here we are yet again on the Questlove Show, highlighting yet another ass-kicking bassist. Maybe I'm looking for a collaborator. This is like the audition process, but this isn't any average run-of-the-mill influencer slash bass players we're talking to. Trying to make ripples on the internet. Flea himself has declared our guest today, air quote, the greatest fucking electric bass player. And I'm inclined to agree. For my own band has covered his tunes from his many records or his many viral videos that you've seen on social media, because they are irresistible, ear candy, and funky as hell. The list is extensive. Of course, Prince knows what's up. Mac Miller knows what's up. Mavis Staples, George Clinton, Sudan Archives, George Ann Muldrow, Pete Rock, Neo, Nas. Everyone knows the deal. His last project, The Dirt Loves Me More Than You, blew my mind, and I was left with no choice but to have our Questlove Show, QLS fam, Brittany and cousin Jake, get on the case so that I could chop it up with the one and only MonoNeon.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will say that I got hip to you. Well, late-ish. I'll say that a place called Fantasy is where like I really jumped aboard. Like, oh shit!
Okay.
And you know what it was? I was in a record store once. I think I was in LA at Amoeba, and I heard All I Ever Wanted to Do Is Be a Mystery. And what I'll later discover about you is your method of songwriting. Like your choruses and your verses, to me, are mantras and affirmations. Just always listening to the choruses. I think for that song you find that freedom inside yourself. When I heard that, like that it stuck with me. I want to know, what is your first musical memory in life?
I think being around my dad, he still plays bass, but he gave me my first guitar, and I just flipped it over left-handed when I was 4 years old. So I remember that, and I remember him taking me to Memphis in May to be on stage with him with Rufus Thomas, just playing air guitar. I remember that stuff. So those are my earliest memories, as a 4-year-old kid.
You didn't have a babysitter, but the stage was your babysitter, and that's how your parents.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, same with me. I played air saxophone in many a nightclub with my family. And talk about your father. Like, what are his roots as far as the musical infrastructure of Memphis?
My dad was like a studio ace in Memphis. He always get like the first calls. He played with the Barcades later on when James Alexander left for a minute. He played with Pop Staples and Mavis Staples, the Memphis horn stuff. Jay Blackfoot, Marvell
Jay
Thomas.
Blackfoot?
Yeah, he played with him.
What did he teach you as far as, like, what did you learn from your father, the fundamentals at least?
Well, actually, he really wasn't around when I was younger. He put the influence on me very early, and when I saw that, I just took it. But he really wasn't around, because he was a touring musician. He moved to Europe when I was pretty young, but he left such a huge, big impact on me to the point where I didn't want to do anything else. I wanted to be like him. So, and I'm still chasing that, Yep.
So I had James Alexander on the show recently, and he gave me his version of Memphis. You were born in 1990?
August 6, 1990. Yep.
Yeah, so where there's a different version of Memphis. Can you describe to me, like your version of Memphis? Like, what are your fond memories? What are your first memories or fuzzy memories of Memphis, Tennessee?
Well, I've come from a very loving family from Memphis, and music was and still is a big part of, my family, just coming to family gatherings and reunions and stuff, and just going to church with my grandma every Sunday, the Baptist church, and
Hmm.
even the pastor would let me up on the, on his stage to play air guitar for some Sundays, just to, I don't know why, but he would let me. His name was Reverend AC,
Okay.
through Liberty Baptist Church, where I got baptized at, and he would just let me come in, probably with my guitar, or just let me just do whatever.
Hmm.
And that was a big influence on me as well. And that's my memory of Memphis, being around my grandma at church and stuff.
So you were an air musician even before you talk about being a visionary before you even got an instrument.
Yeah, even a tour guitar. I have actually old VHS tapes of me in my grandma's living room playing with this toy guitar
All right.
and just visualizing it. I can just see me just wanting this shit so bad as a kid when I look
Yeah.
back at that. So I'm just still chasing that childlike, you know, fascination with music, I guess. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
absolutely know that. How do your Memphis roots influence your identity as MonoNeon? I want to know, is there a subculture in Memphis that challenges the mainstream? In other words, um, like for the outsider, if I consider myself a music expert, so of course I would say, all right, Memphis, all right,
Hmm.
the Sun Records and the blues and uh, just what we basically know about Memphis. But I can't discount that Memphis also gives us uh, an occasional rebellious spirit that just goes their own direction. I mean, you could say this about Maurice White. You could also say
Hmm.
this about Larry Dotson of the
Hmm.
Bar-Kays.
I just saw
Um,
him too.
yeah, so for you, you seem to embody a rebellious spirit. Was this an intentional thing, or did you just like sort of morph into this?
Um, uh, well, I guess it was kind of intentional, but I definitely morphed into it because I'm naturally bashful and shy. So this whole
Hmm.
thing of wanting now to be up front doing my own thing, it's really tough. It's really hard, but I have I have a little more courage now to do it, and I'm not really afraid because I've been trying to let go of everybody's expectations of what I should be doing. So I'm really having fun with that, like peeling off those layers of just letting go. And yeah, that's what I'm doing now. So I'm still trying to find myself, I guess. Yep.
So, okay, I feel like we have this in common. What I would check us off if I had to check us in a box. I would say that we are two primitive, exotic brothers. In other words, hard to miss. Like for you in your everyday life, are you this person that I'm seeing now, or do you morph like into your everyday self?
I'm pretty much like this all the time.
Okay.
I even sleep with my quilts on sometimes because I love them so much. But yeah, I'm pretty much like this. But around my grandma and my mama, I'm
So you're
kind of
not DT. I mean, like, when do you
what?
turn into DT?
Shit, let me see. Um, Probably around my mama and my grandma, my cousins and them. You know,
I got you.
they call me DJ, so I'm like DJ around them. Yeah.
Oh, my fault. Okay.
No, you cool.
I've heard you
DT
refer
cool
to.
too.
I'm in DJ. Okay.
No, you good. DT, I like DT too. It's cool. Yeah, yeah, cool.
Is pivoting easy for you?
Usually, cause I always pivot back to my mom and my grandma, cause they keep me,
They keep you grounded.
not even trying. They just that unspoken love they have for me and I have for them.
Uh-huh.
I need it, so I carry that with me everywhere I go, everywhere.
Gotcha.
Yep.
You've said that you were self-taught at 4.
Hmm.
You're a left-handed bass player. Even though, like, are you a traditional right-handed bass player that still plays left, or like, are you
Um,
ambidextrous with it?
I'm right-handed, predominantly right-handed, but like with my daddy Dwayne Thomas gave me a guitar at 4 years
Uh-huh.
old. I just flip that thing over.
No one corrected you at all?
I mean, of course, all the old heads say, man, if you play the other way, you probably sound better. I heard that a long time ago, and I didn't even switch over because I knew what I wanted to do. Not really, but I just felt it. I was like, let me just keep doing what I'm doing because this feels right to me.
Do you readjust the strings? Like, is your low E on the bottom now instead of the top, or
Yeah, my low E is at the bottom. It's just a right-handed thing, and I just flip it over without changing stuff. So,
okay? So I did a maybe like 2 months ago. I did it. I was out and I was at the Blue Note in L.A. and Thundercat was there,
hmm
and we get on stage and we start jamming, and he's on a four string,
hmm
and it took him maybe 7 seconds to adjust.
hmm
Like there was like some mistakes there, and he like I'm looking at him trying to figure out like the proper fingering
hmm
for a four string because
hmm
obviously his muscle memories is with a sixer.
hmm
So for you, if he handed any bass or any guitar, can you keep the virtuoso levels up? Like if given a traditional, or is it a struggle a little bit?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily call it a struggle because I just try to adapt to anything I'm in, any position I put myself in, or any situation I have to go to. I just try to adapt. So if somebody hands me like a precision bass, it's gonna make me want to tap into something like James Jamerson, but still try
Hmm.
to play my own shit as well, because I'm always gonna sneak my thing in there somewhere. But yeah, I try to be adaptable and let the
Gotcha.
music tell me what to do at first.
Say the first 10 years of your life between 90 and 2000. Who were you shedding to?
Of course, my dad, he was the first one.
Okay.
My mama used to tell me stories about him, and I just used to find anything he played on, something. He told me he played on Animal with the
Oh, on the
Barcades.
Barcades. Okay, okay.
Yeah, and
Got it.
he was actually credited on that album.
Got
And
you. Okay.
Contagious, he told me he played on that.
Nice. Okay.
So he played on two albums, but he was really playing with them live when James left for a minute.
Right.
But yeah, my dad, James, um, definitely guys from home, Jackie Clark and Spanky and Anthony Crawford,
Okay.
uh, Brandon Brown. Um, who else? Yeah, guys from back home and stuff like that. And later on, I started really listening to Victor Wooten because I never heard nobody thump like that. So it's like, man, I want to try to do that left hand and see if I can do that. It never worked, but I put it in there somewhere. And
Got you.
later on, I really started listening to Anthony Jackson very, very heavy. And
Legendary Philadelphia
oh yeah,
bassist
that's
Anthony
my
Jackson.
dude, man. I go back to listen to him all the time just to learn something new.
Got you.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
What would you say? What were the five albums that defined you for the first 10 years of your life? And I don't even mean as a bass player, or whatever. Like just
Yeah, yep.
what were your between 90 and 2000? What were the five records that defined you?
Let me see. I'm bad with album title names, but let me see if I can figure it out.
Okay.
Uh, Definitely Hot Butter Soul, Isaac Hayes.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna skip over some years, but Two Against Nature, Steely Dan.
Got you.
Okay, let's see.
What is it about that album that gravitated you?
Well, first of all, that pristine production and mixing, of course that's gonna
Right.
make anybody listen if it just sounds good. But I've always loved Donald Fagen, and he's always been an influence on me in terms of how I want to write and the way I hear chords and stuff. I'm
Right.
not much of a keyboard player, but when I go to the keyboard, for some reason I think of how he sits down at it and just do whatever the hell he does. But Donald Fagen is really a big influence on me, and especially vocally. I don't sound like him at all, but it's some stuff in there that okay,
Right.
I kind of sound like him a little bit. But yeah, Donald Fagen, that album. So that's the reason I like Two Against Nature. That album. Yeah,
Got you. Okay.
yeah, yep.
And the other
That
three?
album. Let me see. Uh, Mothership Connection,
Okay.
Parliament, George Clinton and them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah, the album cover was pretty cool. That really influenced me a lot in terms of how I wanted to look when I saw that album cover. Yep.
Got you.
At a
Okay.
very, very early age, I used to stare at that album cover in my grandma's living room. I had the vinyl. I used to act like I was a DJ with it on the turntable in my grandma's living room, just scratching
Yeah.
it up and shit.
Okay.
Yeah, just playing around. So that was a big influence. What
Okay.
else? That's three. Um, my elementary school days, I have to say Voodoo, D'Angelo. Yep.
Damn, that hurt me when you said elementary school.
I didn't mean it like that. I didn't
No,
mean
I'm
it, but
playing, brother. I'm
yeah,
playing. I'm
but
playing.
but that damn shit was definitely, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know what I was listening to, but you
And
know,
guess what? We didn't know either.
but it was one of those things, man. You couldn't stop listening to it, and you felt at home with that because he came
Uh,
from the church too. So
uh,
yeah, just I ain't gonna get too much into that, but yes,
that's
man,
love, man. Thank
yes,
you.
yeah, yeah, for real. I'm glad I'm saying that to you, man. Yeah, yep,
I
yep,
appreciate it,
yep,
and I know he would appreciate it.
yep.
Like I definitely know that he's hip to your work.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, that's cool.
yeah,
What's the fifth? That was four. Let me see
that
if I
was
can
four.
find a fifth one. Um, it's probably gonna be another Steely Dan album. I would say damn it, the Royal Scam, Steely Dan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird. You just say you're not a keyboard player, yet you released a keyboard album or a
Oh,
synth album.
yeah. That's just me sitting around. That's when I first got that Muse. I just opened the box, I plugged it in. I just told myself, you just do something with it, just put out something, and I just did. Just messed around with it because I was trying to tap into my
But that's creativity. Like
yeah.
I'm
I
about
just,
that.
I just do. That's my whole thing, bro. I'm not really a deep type of person.
You just do it.
Yeah, I just do it because I just look at it as breathing, I guess. Or I've been doing this thing for so long. It's just part of me. Shit, I just want this shit. I just want to be part of the music. I just want to
Well,
be in it.
let me
I just
ask
do
you
it.
because I will say that the one issue that sort of uh, handicaps my peer group is literally showing up. Like I tell them all the time, like we don't have to be prepared. Sometimes we won't be good,
Hmm.
but let's just show up and take one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other. And look, I'm guilty of it a lot. I was that person that believed in no, it's not ready yet, perfectionism. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm the guy that has been sitting on his album for 11 years now. But showing up, I believe, is not only key and first, but it's really just the only rule.
That's what I'm working through now is like feeling like I'm not good enough because I feel like that all the time. I wake up feeling like that. That's why I'm always so damn depressed, probably. But yeah, that's what I'm working through.
What is the sign that you are satisfied with your skill level? Because, I mean, dude, like, you're leaving evidence all over the internet on why you are not to be messed with. Like,
Man, I just be doing shit, but I'm not where I really want to be in terms of how I actually hear myself. Not to be all profound and deep, but I'm not there yet, so I'm
all
very
right,
hard on myself after every show. I beat
really.
myself up. I try my best not to because it can be very draining, but I'm so used to beating myself up and I use that as sort of ammunition.
Motivation. I
Yeah,
get
I
it.
just, it keep not I'm not trying to keep myself humble or nothing, but it's just I don't want to feel like I've arrived to nothing. I don't want to feel like, man, you the baddest motherfucker in town. No, I don't want that. I just want to just be in the space of doing my thing and getting better and better.
So is it hard for you to take compliments when
Yeah,
people
I'm
uh
starting to say thank you now, as opposed to say, man, whatever. I tried. I still say, I guess, and I tried in very, you know, whatever.
I
I guess humble or whatever. I'm not good with compliments. I just, you know,
I get it. Yeah,
yeah,
as a former student of non-deservingness university,
yeah.
I will say that when you do arrive to that place, and the thing is that even though I would say I'm more evolved now than I've ever been in the last like
Hmm.
5 to 6 years, I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes it's a struggle. You're going to get to the place where you're satisfied and that you feel it, that you own it, and But
I'm working on it. I'm
I,
working.
I love I love watching you get to if this is not perfection for you, then I love watching you struggle,
I'm
bro.
struggling. Hell yeah, I am. Shit. Yeah.
Are there any other instruments that you've mastered, or is like what the bass is such an undervalued element? And I'll be honest with you, I didn't really respect the bass until I started playing with Pino.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what's even crazier is playing with him on the Voodoo tour. It's what Pino didn't play.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
Pino taught
Yep.
me the value of if you stop playing something,
Mm-hmm.
stop a sentence and let it go
Hmm.
by. When you come back in,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I've heard you say a few times, and this is what I really love about your creative ethos. Like as a chef, you will use everything from the snout to the butt, like
Hmm.
everything. What is your relationship with mistakes as far as your creativity is concerned?
I just find so much value in just embracing the mistake as opposed to, especially in musically, just or just in life, man. Just embracing it and just letting it be what it is, and just letting it have its own story, man. It's like
Mhm.
I don't know. I really don't think too deep about it. I just love making a mistake a thing, and it's so
Got
much life into, especially playing live and stuff. I make a lot of mistakes, but there's something about giving that mistake energy, and it blossoms into something I
something else.
wouldn't even think of, you know. So that's why I embrace,
Did
mistakes
did
and stuff.
Prince ever tell you his theory? He's like, if you make a mistake, then make it again,
Yep.
so that way.
He told
Also,
me, man, just own it. Own it. We was rehearsing in MPG music club room, and he's
right.
back there, and I did something that he probably felt that I wasn't confident with it. He told me, own it and own it. And that stuck with me ever since then too, man. Just you gotta own it. If you're not confident with your shit, they gonna feel it too. So that's why I kind of have this attitude behind my mistakes. Like, it's mine, nigga, so I'm just gonna keep doing it. So, yep.
One of my favorite samurai mantra songs is make a mistake, do something
Yep.
wrong, make another mistake, and do something right. And
Hmm.
that to me is one of the greatest courses I've ever heard a person say.
Yep.
Um, what were your high school teen years like as far as gigging or bass playing is concerned?
Um, I was in band in high school. I used to stay in the band class, and they had a bass in there. I used to plug my bass um in the room and just play with the horn players and stuff. I played upright in high school, but I used to stay in the band class. But a lot of my foundation was the church during that time, playing in church with all the
Hmm.
badass organ players and piano players. And that's where I really get a lot of my shit from, looking at the organ player's foot or the left hand and how
Hmm.
they move and stuff. So really the church is a big influence, on me. So
All right, so can you speak on the metamorphosis of MonoNeon's journey, like as in the character? First of all, where did the name come from?
Mono Neon. I just like neon colors. I love like well, I used to call myself Poly Neon, but I was
Okay.
in my grandma's in the in my bedroom, my grandma's house, and for some reason I just wanted to change it because I got bored or something. So I just started messing around with it. But I just like neon installations like Dave Flavin and just light shit like James Terrell. I used to go on the internet and just research stuff about neon lights and stuff. So it just came from that. And I
Got
love avant-garde art, like
mm-hmm.
movements and like Dadaism.
That okay.
That's
Gotcha.
where all the embracing mistakes probably came from in the rebelliousness and this anti-art shit, that I keep in my head. Just wanted to just I guess be different, but not really. I don't care about being different. But yeah, Dada really influenced me a lot with that whole manifesto bullshit. So, yep.
Got you. Got
Yep.
you. Um, as far as your your fashion sense, would you consider yourself like did you study much as far as Afrofuturism is concerned, or is this just your inner 9-year old self that refuses to grow up and you're in a constant state of play?
That both, all those things probably, especially I don't want to grow up at all. I'm 35 years old,
Uh huh.
but now, it's starting to catch up to me that I may have to grow up just a little bit here, but no, I don't want to grow up. Fuck that shit now. I'm gonna be a child for the rest of my life. But yeah, that Mothership Connection album, that whole thing really influenced me, I guess, and Bootsy Collins and all that stuff. So I come through that, with the I don't wear the goggles because of that, but I'm just being me, I guess. But that is an influence, you know.
I got you.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your like when you started getting session work? Was Neo your first like major client, or
Uh, yep, because I remember recording that when I was going to Berkeley. The
okay?
trombone player asked me to come over to his spot to record that, and I think what was his name, Derek White or something, trombone
Got
player.
you.
Yeah, yeah. I think he produced or co-produced that song I played on. But yeah, but that was my first like major pop song I played on. Yeah.
Was playing something so structured and disciplined a hard thing to do?
Not during that time, because I really wasn't, I guess, so-called tapped into doing my own thing. I mean, but yeah, I was just trying to make the dude happy with whatever was doing,
So
So
if you're in a situation in which you're not the final say in a performance or whatnot, you know, like you might go to a relative minor of a note
mm-hmm.
that sounds cool in your ears, whereas they're
Mm-hmm.
just like, nah, I'm doing a pop song, like just play basic and straight. Have you been in a situation where like discipline was required for a client and what your instincts were telling you to go, you couldn't because you had to play something straight?
No, I'm cool, being produced and someone telling me to keep it simple and keep it what it should be and just,
Okay.
play the record. I'm cool with that, I don't mind that. I just want to make if I'm hired to do a session or whatever, I just want to make whoever is producing happy. It's not really about me. If you want me to do whatever MonoNeon shit, I will go there if you want me to, but I just come in, just just tell me what to do and I try my best to do it for you.
Actually, I'll ask you the opposite because I'll say that I'll roll my eyes more. I mean, occasionally I'll get a collaborator that will use this adjective all the time, in which they'd be like, "Hey, man,
Hmm.
I want you guys to rootsify it." I'm a stickler to the original version. So, like, if an
Hmm.
artist comes on the Tonight Show, like for me, it's shape shifting into what the song originally was. And I had this one client that like they had their one of their massive like trillion unit selling hits. Um
Hmm.
we did it to the letter
Hmm.
and they were like, "Well, I want you guys to rootsify and remix it." And I was trying to be like, "Yo, like when we go out there to do it for America and do it for Jimmy, like they're expecting the version that they grew
Hmm.
up with."
Hmm.
And so do
Hmm.
you sometimes run into a client that wants you that'll make a reference to like one of your Cardi B videos or anything like that? Like,
Yeah, that has happened before and I kind of get annoyed, but like
okay,
yeah, but if you want me to be all quirky and stuff, I can give that to you, but sometimes it's not gonna work, But whatever you want, you're paying me, so I do whatever you tell me to do.
right, okay.
Yep.
So you believe in giving the song what it needs and
Yeah,
serving the
that's
song.
always important to me. I don't come in with the ego. I can be
Gotcha.
arrogant if you want me to, but I don't come in, with that. No.
Can you talk about your work with Georgia and Muldrow? How did you two connect?
Um, the first thing I played on was I think it's called Miss One. I did that with a Danish producer, Chris One too. Yeah, the first thing I played on was Miss One. And like I think 2 years ago was the first time I met her in person. And yeah, I love her, man. She's cool as hell. Yep.
So, okay, so yeah, you are in the age of where you guys can just collaborate by sending each other files. And
Hmm.
is it jarring for you to come and create in person? Like for me, I like to create in person with the client, but I do know that there's a whole nother generation that's just like, hey, I'll send you the files, put some stink on it, send it back to me,
Hmm.
and then maybe 5 months later, I'll be shopping. I'm like, oh, this is the song I play. So for you, like you can have absolute chemistry with someone without ever having met them.
Yep. It's been like that for me for a long time,
Do you prefer it that way?
I mean, I'm used to it. I don't mind it, but now I like to be in the room with people, man, because it's just a different thing. You bounce off people when when you're in the room, so yeah.
Eddie Murphy is a major, major, major fan of your work. Has he ever reached out to you? Like
Um,
he
Not personally, no.
Eddie's good for someone that doesn't have a social media account. I'll say that a typical week you're going to get like 5 to 10 YouTube or TikTok or Instagram clips
Hmm.
that he thinks is hilarious or whatever. And he went through a MonoNeon phase where it was almost like I was like, damn, like I bet you MonoNeon has no clue that this guy sits and watches like hours and hours of his videos.
Nope.
How long does it typically take for you to once you decide that you're going to take a video and then find the harmonics, like do you have this ability to, even as I speak now, like to figure out like what key I'm talking in and where melodically my voice is going and all those things?
Yeah, but I would have to record it. I don't hear it right now. I would have to, cycle
Just
it
play it on
and
loop and
yeah,
and
and to actually hear, because there's actual notes in talking. But when you repeat it, you can hear the
right.
note, you can hear the contour, you can hear a groove in it if based on your sensibility. So that's what I'd be, on. So yeah.
So I figured Cardi is a good subject for
Hmm.
you to do this with because her voice is so melodic. Of the viral videos that you've done of people talking and you providing the musical backdrop of it, which one was the most challenging?
Man, probably a Cardi B one, those early ones, because that's when I really kind of started developing it and making a song out of it, and
Right,
making a track out of it. Because when I first started, I was just mimicking, just finding the notes of a person's speech.
right.
But now I'm actually making songs, actual grooves and tracks, something you can dance to from that. So I think the early Cardi B ones was kind of hard for me.
Do you have to sometimes adjust it rhythmically so that it makes more sense?
Well, probably, yeah, for me to make more sense
Like
to me. Yeah,
place notes so
yeah,
that okay.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
Especially within the song structure, I want to have a groove to it. So yeah, I do structure it a little bit different once to get to that part. Yeah.
As you know, our listeners might not know. Um, I don't know why we played. I think it's when Cardi B hosted the Tonight Show.
I remember that.
We decided to do. They should have never gave
Hmm.
bitch some goddamn shmoney.
Yep.
I remember once I made a 45-minute loop to that song just so I can walk. Like I'll do my morning walks and
Okay.
from my apartment to
Hmm.
work.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so it's like once those, like, you just move on to the next. You never turn around to the, because to this
Sometimes I
day,
do. Sometimes I go back and actually use it for one of my original songs. I put my own lyrics to it. Sometimes I do
gotcha.
that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Have any of your subjects reached out to you once they've seen the video? Like, has Cardi ever? Is she aware of these at all? Has she reached out?
I, I think she synced it. I think Pete Rock reposted it one time a couple years ago, and I think she commented or something. I may be wrong, but
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, I think a few people have seen it. I know Tiffany Haddish, when I did something she did on The Breakfast Club about a man's something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I reharmed that and she reposted it. Yeah. Yeah, I think some people be seeing it, but I don't care. Shit, I just be doing it for myself. Yeah.
What are your upright bass playing chops like?
My pizzicato shit is okay. I need to work on my arco, my bowing. But if you
Okay,
want me to play upright, I'm not afraid to go nowhere. I play upright, for a whole show if you want me to.
got you.
Yep.
All right, so you're a Memphis native, and blues and Memphis are synonymous with each other.
Yep.
Um, how proficient are you as far as like the blues history of Memphis, and are there any notable bass players of that genre that you feel are unsung or not talked about?
I would have to say my dad again, Dwayne Thomas. He's on
Okay.
song. I always have to go back because man, people need to know about his contribution, and not to
I,
put him,
I'll I'll
yeah.
ask this much:
What?
when they do Holy Ghost, did he make James proud doing Holy Ghost?
Man, I got this cassette tape my dad played on with the Barcades. It's on YouTube. I uploaded the whole thing. I think I
Okay.
did. Or it's on Facebook or something.
Uh huh.
And yeah, yes, he was that dude. Just to let you know.
I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah. It still
James
is. Yep.
James is so hilarious because because of the history of that song. Um, Holy Ghost was made in 1973
Yep.
and just sat in the vault like it was nothing. And,
Mhm.
some 5 years later in 1978, they just made a quickie
Frozen.
throwaway album. And I'm like, how could you throw away a song like this and just let it sit there? I don't like Holy Ghost is my all-time favorite Bar Case song. And I would imagine as a bass player, like for you, like what are your memories of like watching them play? And there were a few times when Larry would call you on stage to play with him, correct?
No, that was Rufus. My dad called me on stage to
Oh,
play with Rufus. But yeah,
got you.
my mom used to pick me up from school, elementary school, to take me to go see the Barcades live. That's when my James was playing with him then, but
Got you.
Barcades is such a big influence on me, and Larry Dotson. That's why I probably kind of flamboyant with my whole style as well because of seeing Larry with the snake and stuff and the blonde hair. I was just with him for his birthday. I hung out with him and stuff. Tell
Those
him I
snakes
love
were
him. Yep.
real.
Hell yeah. Big. I remember the yellow and white one he used to have around his neck, and yeah, he a bad dude.
I could have sworn that was not real.
Oh, that's a real snake. It's not poisonous or nothing, but yeah.
Have you ever asked him if the snake on the cover of the Cold Blooded album was his?
No, I didn't ask him that. I think
Okay.
was that a rattlesnake? I don't know if it was rattle.
Yes, or
Oh, it was rattle. Yeah. No, I don't know. Probably.
I again, bass is always the bottom of the. I mean, it's the low end. It's always the bottom of the totem pole. So, I don't know gear in terms of bass, but what did you start off with, and what do you continue to use to this day as far as your gear is concerned?
What bass I started out with? Actually, it was first of all, it was a guitar. My daddy gave me a guitar,
Gotcha,
but I played it like a bass because that's all I knew was the thumping. I just used to thump. So it
gotcha.
was a guitar. Then eventually, I actually had a actual bass, but I think it was an Ibanez sound gear. Had a transparent orange finish.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was an Ibanez, old Ibanez bass. Yeah.
And you mentioned you went to Berkeley. What was your Berkeley experience like?
It was terrible. No, it was all right. Um, I
And
don't like going to school, first of all, but I'm glad I went because I met some cool people. But I hardly went to class though. But yeah,
what year? What was your years there?
2008 to 2010. So I was there 2 years and I went back home.
How do you decide who your tribe is or who your circle is?
Actually, for me, that experience was eye-opening. I just looked at that thing totally different because it was my first time being around so many musicians that were good and they were, I guess, better than me. So I wasn't even trying to outplay nobody. I wasn't trying to be better. It opened me up to saying, okay, there's a lot of good musicians out here, so you have to do something way totally different. So that's why I started tapping into wearing the neon colors,
Mhm.
becoming a persona, really tapping into that because I just didn't want to just be a musician. I wanted to be something else. So being at Berkeley was really an eye-opening thing beyond music, I guess.
So, as far as your actual fully fleshed out mono neon character, when did you make your debut as far as sock on bass, duct tape,
Uh,
hats, goggles? Like, when did this person come to like light?
uh, I had to sock on my bass at Berkeley. I think I gotta look back and look at it.
What was the logistics of that decision? Just to be different, or like was it?
No, it was just I was just reading a lot about ready-made art by Marcel Duchamp.
Hmm.
That where he just yeah, just ready-made art where he takes this ordinary object and he may write some sort of pseudonym on it, or he may reposition it. And for some
Hmm.
reason, I just wanted to do that with my bass. I like, okay, since I want to be this this persona, I need to tap into something that's beyond music. Let me read something about visual arts. Let me get into sculptures. Let me be influenced by something else because I can't continuously just be influenced by music because it's going to get boring for me. I want to be influenced by something else. So that's why I started reading about Dada and turning my bass into a ready-made thing
Hmm.
in my world, I guess. But so it happened like that.
What percentage of your live show is, improvised, and what percentage of it is actual, like, prepared uh, set list?
70, maybe 60% of my show is improv. I have to have my improv in there, but some of it's structured. I really don't rehearse a lot, so
Hmm.
sometimes we get on stage and just wing it because we all know the song. So there's a lot of mistakes in there, so it opens up a new world for me.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of improv in there, but it is structured a little bit. Yes.
Okay, so of the dozen plus albums that you've released, and I'll say for me, Jelly Belly, Dirty
Really?
Somebody. Well, you know what? Surfing my brain, there was a point where I think I wanted to remake that joint for us. But for you, like, what's the album project that's the dearest to your heart?
Um. Oh yeah. Crusted Neon Missionary Baptist Church with my grandma. I've been writing songs with her.
I was
She
about to
did.
say
Yes.
she's the number one collaborator. Like, talk about working with her.
That's my lady there, man. I can talk about her all day. I miss her. That's why I don't like being away from home, because I be wanting to just sit with her and watch Price is Right. But yeah, that's my girl, man. And these times with her are very special to me. I try not to read into it too much, but it's such a feeling sitting next to her and with my bass, my dad's purple bass, and she's singing old hymns she used to sing in the Baptist church. And
Yeah.
it's just one of those things, man, where I'm just happy that I have this time with her, and actually writing original music for her to sing, and she actually loves it. So I'm finding her humping her shit, bro. So it's just it means a lot to me.
When you put out Krusty Neon
Mhm.
Missionary,
Mhm.
and you open with "Take Me to the Water," I was like, oh damn! Like instantly, I'm second grade at First Pentecostal, like at
Man,
my grandmom's church. Like I
yep,
instantly started missing my grandmom. So
man, that's my girl, man. Such a
I
big influence on me.
I appreciate and love the way that you've, I guess we could say, documented recipes. I want to speak of your collaborations. So first of all, what's your decision process when it comes to like the many collaborative projects that you've done? Like
Hmm.
when you do a project with people who are traditionally not like the musicians that you are accustomed to playing with, like if you have a band, you know.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't come in with no ego. I listen more than I talk. Well, I don't talk much anyway, but I make sure I read the room the best way I can. And yeah, I don't decide who is in control of the room. I just let it happen. And it's usually the other person because I'm not trying to control nothing. I just want to, especially being a bass player and I'm hired to play in the band. I'm not trying to step out front. If you want me to, I will, but I'm just trying to just be there and play the best I can and make the person happy, whoever hired me. So you can be the alpha all you want to. Just go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, as a creative, I'm almost certain that you too have ideas and directions you want to go.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I
that
do.
will. So, is it easy for you to communicate to other musicians exactly what it is that you want?
Nope. I just tell them try again. Let's do something else. That's usually my thing. Yes,
Try something else.
yeah, let's
Okay,
try something else.
got you. How did you you hold I guess what I dub an unfortunate honorable title, which is I believe that you were the last musician that our dear brother Prince Roger Nelson
Hmm.
um, hired before his passing. Speak on first of all, how did you guys come across each other?
Who reached out? It was an email. You know, it wasn't a phone call. It was one of his manager. I think it was Phaedra or somebody, Theo or whatever.
Hmm.
But they emailed me and they said Prince wants you to come to Paisley Park to jam, and that was late 2014 actually. And I think the next day or 2 days later, I went up there, and Judith Hill was there, Dominique Taplin, Tayron Lockett, and we ended up jamming with Judith that night. Then the next day we flew home. Then I guess that was my audition for Judith and Prince, and I started working at Paisley Park early 2015. And
What did he play if you were on bass?
he wasn't playing. He was there though, because he would call Judith to tell the band to do something. So he was
So
there.
he heard the rehearsals, but wasn't in the room.
Yeah, he was. No, he wasn't in the room, but he would call Judith to tell me or Dominique or Tayron to, play something different or whatever. But yeah. So I didn't meet him the first time I went, but he was
Gotcha.
there. But when I came back, he started coming around.
Was it dark in there, and were those eyes staring at you from those paintings? I swear to this day that every time I pass those murals on his wall,
Yep.
it's almost like the Three Stooges episode when the eyes are like looking at you.
Man, there's so many words I can use to describe that experience. It was
Well, okay, so wait, here's the thing.
I don't know.
I was born. I Prince came into my life when I was 8,
Hmm.
and what's weird is that you came on this earth
Hmm.
a year after. Okay, so look, I'm part of and this is where Prince orgers get angry at me. But most people when they have a magic streak, most artists have a magic. And I know
Hmm.
I'm sounding like a critic right now, but
Hmm.
just as someone that's observed music, most artists, if they're lucky, get a 4-year streak in which they shit gold.
Hmm.
And Prince is actually a figure, much like Miles Davis,
Hmm.
that was, in my opinion, given an 11 to sort of 12-year period of which every shot's going in, no matter where he shoots it from.
Hmm.
Every idea is just like changing your life and whatnot. So I don't know if you grew up like you came on earth when Prince was already a legend.
Yeah. Yep.
And I grew up when Prince was a nobody
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then 6 years later became a legend.
Hmm.
So he was like he was everyone's secret niche
Hmm.
artist and then became
Hmm.
ubiquitous. But for you, like, what did you were you a student of his music? Did you know much about him besides, hey, I know a genius lives in Minneapolis, or like, what did you know of his work?
Um, I mean, of course, I knew Prince. I knew him. I've seen
Yeah.
him on TV. I've heard his music. His music was everywhere. But I didn't really listen to him like that as a kid.
Hmm.
I really,
As you
really was.
shouldn't.
Yeah, I really, but I knew his stuff. I knew the grooves, but he wasn't that for me. But
Right.
once I started being around him and started, having to learn songs and rehearse with him and play with him, that's when I started going back and listening to his stuff and started to really be influenced by that and started incorporating that, not even intentionally. It just happened, because I was around him. And he's like, man, I saw so much of what I wanted to be in him once I started being around him. It's like, man, I really, whatever he's on, I want to vibrate like that. That is pretty cool, man. So it was that type of thing for me. Yeah.
Once in a blue moon, he would like there's songs that haven't been released by him
Hmm.
that I feel like are so the foundation of what the ground that you're standing on right now.
Mhm.
I don't know if you ever heard his song "Movie Star"
Man,
or
that's my favorite.
that's
Yeah,
my all-time favorite
man,
Prince song.
man, that quiet funk, whatever you want to
Yes,
call it.
yes.
Man, that's my go-to. I don't know why, but
No,
whatever's in that thing, I want that. I want it.
you and I are on that level.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah, "Movie Star" also, to a lesser extent. I'll say probably the craziest song he's done is if you ever heard "There's Others Here with Us."
Yep.
It's
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Can you just talk about him as a bassist?
Um. Well, unfortunately, he didn't play bass around me. I wish he did, but you know, the shit that he did play on, he just had this uninhibited type of rebellious, whatever you want to call it, type of funk, man, that can't really be duplicated by anybody. You can learn from it, you can be influenced by it, but he had his own thing that was so uncanny. And I don't know, man. He just had this weird type of funk that I just love and that I just gravitate towards and that I just learned from just listening to it. And I've kind of found my own thing with it. And I never try to be like him, but when I listen to him play, it's like I want a piece of it, and I just try to make it part of me, especially now, So that's what I get from his bass playing. It's just that rebellious type of funk. Like he ain't trying to be like nobody else but himself. But you can hear the influences. You can hear Larry and Sonny, but he's still, yeah, yeah.
I wish I could. There's a drop he does that's like a trademark of his, or on the one, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Like he does it a lot on "Let's Work."
Yeah, yep, yep, yep.
Boom. Like, did
Mm-hmm.
he make you do that a lot in his?
Yeah, he would make me. Would not necessarily make me, but he would tell me to play a certain way. He would tell me to. There's this song called "Stare." I didn't play on the song, but
Okay.
we used to play that a lot with him. There's a song called "Stare," and I used to put a lot of how bass player I put a lot of ghost notes in it just to keep time, but he
Yeah.
would tell me to remove it and just keep it clean. And I kind of learned that from him, within that song. So he would tell me certain things to
He
do.
didn't want you to play ghost notes.
Not for that song, not for that one.
Okay, because I
But
was
yeah,
going to say.
well, he would let me do my thing. But if he wants something particular, he would tell me. Yeah,
Okay. Only because Brown Mark would be the opposite. He would say Prince would want him to play ghost notes
yeah,
and
that rumble
cat
stuff. Yep,
rumble
yep.
more than the actual notes. And
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah, he
that's
he
what
he likes that stuff too. But for that particular song, I would just remember him telling me, "Don't add the whatever."
the single you have out now, Bottom Feeder, with your grandmom and George Clinton, which
Yep.
is such a full circle moment. When did you start? You've worked with George a few times before. How did you guys meet up?
The first time I played with him was at a festival, a music festival. I sat in with him, but eventually started working with him on a song called "Quilted." Me and my friend David Nathan. This is his studio now. All these keyboards, David Nathan, and
Okay.
but yeah, the first song I actually did with him was "Quilted," and yeah, that's when we first started collaborating together on a song. But
Okay.
we went down to Tallahassee and recorded his vocals and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
whenever I do hang with him, I go down to Tallahassee to his studio and just
Fishing.
yeah, and just hang with him and smoke a lot of weed, man. That nigga be smoking, which I don't mind. I don't mind smoking with him. That's my
Hey
dude.
man, it's medicine.
Yes.
Medicine.
Yep.
Um, okay, so also, I want to know about your work with John Bryan and Mac Miller on a complicated song. How did that project come to be?
Um, I didn't get a chance to meet, but actually we talked. He sent me a message on Instagram about that song. He sent me the track and everything and told me to do whatever. And that was the last time we talked. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but
Oh man,
before he passed, he sent me that song, and that was such a weird thing for him to send me that, and he just passed away like that, and I didn't get
yeah.
a chance to meet him. I don't do well with you know death and stuff, man. It just really fucks with me. But yeah, I wish I got a chance to meet him, but we talked, through Instagram, you know. So yeah,
Gotcha,
yep.
gotcha. And how do you name your albums?
Man, it just happens. I just be thinking of the weirdest combination of words, like Jelly Belly. No, I can't remember. Jelly Belly, Belly
Jelly
Dirty
Belly,
somebody.
Dirty
Yeah,
Somebody. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just first of all, I'm from Memphis, so I'm country, so I just be it just
Gotcha.
happens, it's just one of those things. But I don't know, man. I just the album I'm working on now with my friend Davey, he's helping me with producing and writing songs with him. So the album that I'm working on is a bunch of duets,
Yeah, I was
just
gonna say, is this the duets album?
yeah, we're working on that. I've been getting people in, and it's coming along, and I
So
think
each song has two people, or is that the whole?
it's yeah, me and another vocalist or me and some more musicians, it's
Okay,
one of
got
those
it.
things, but it is a very one of my biggest collaborative projects. I got some pretty cool people on it. But
Got
yeah, that's what I'm focusing on now. And that's why I'm here, trying to get shit together.
it
But
together.
yeah, that's the thing I'm working on. Do it thing.
What is the singular moment that has changed your life?
Let's see here. There's a couple singular moments. I'm gonna be fast though. When I
Okay.
started playing with Prince, that was an influence that put a fire under me. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, being up front and just trying to show people what that experience meant to me. So
Gotcha.
being around Prince, that was singular. With my dude David Nathan, working with him, writing songs with him, he's kind of taking me to honestly another level in terms of production and being a singer. He be getting me out of my comfort zone with these vocals, but
Hmm.
I'm satisfied. So working with Davey, is really pretty cool. That's a singular moment in my thing, and being around my grandma during this time, writing songs with her and shit like that, that
Hmm.
type of shit, and just have touring my own music and being up there and trying to be a better front man and whatever. All those are singular moments.
Is so singing is like a vulnerable
Hell yeah, it is.
exercise for you.
Man, it's really vulnerable. That's why I wear the sunglasses and the mask stuff. It's like I ain't trying to be no gimmick or nothing, but I have to hide. But it's just one of those things, bro. It's like singing and hearing myself on those big ass PA speakers, my little ass voice, man. It's just man, like God damn it, I don't want to hear this, but I have to do it. I got
Oh,
to do it.
that's weird. Like
Yeah.
your voice is so suited for the music. Like to me,
Oh,
it's
not to my
perfect for
ears,
it.
but I'm trying.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you just gotta own it. Get
See,
out
I
of
be in my
time and
head,
just be
man.
like,
People don't really know. I be in my head, man.
gotta be out of your head though. But
I'm
I
trying.
mean,
I'm trying. I'm trying. That's what I'm working on. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
is there a book or a movie that changed the direction of your life?
The Passion of the Christ. No, I'm joking. Probably. I love comedy and comedians.
Okay,
Comedians are a big influence on me. So it would probably have to be Jim Carrey movie, Pet Detective, Cable Guy.
got you.
Um,
Stuff from your childhood.
yeah, man, all that type of stuff and stuff with David and Alan Greer in it. And comedians are a big influence on me. Black exploitation movies with comedians and stuff. So
Okay.
it's that type of thing. I'm not really on no profound type of movies type shit. Sometimes I am.
Have you scored anything or
No, just
have you
my little
gotten asked
mean.
to score?
No, I haven't got asked to score nothing. They don't
All right.
believe in me.
All right, I'm gonna change that for you, bro.
Oh shit, no, don't give me too much of a task, but yeah, I do it. Yeah.
I got you, man. I'm gonna lead you to that water, man. I'm gonna
Hell
take
yeah,
you to
come
the
on.
water.
Shit.
Um, is it possible for you to enjoy music without participating in it? Like, when's the last time that you were just an audience member without having to go on stage and play?
Uh the last thing I went to was a Zach Fox. He was DJing in Memphis. That's really the only thing I went to, just being, an audience
A
participant.
civility, a
Yeah,
civility.
and it still felt weird because I wanted to get on stage and just jam with him. But
Got you.
it's hard for me to go to concerts because I get anxious. I want to be on stage. I want to sit in. So I really don't go to concerts just to enjoy.
Just to watch it.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I should though, but nah.
So playing music is cathartic for you, but taking in music is
Yeah, it's
not as
hard. I
fun
really
as
don't even listen to music because of that thing. I know it takes. I have to push myself to listen to music because I start thinking, man, I want to write something like that. I want to sound like that. I want to play like that. I want to sing like that. So it takes me. I have to push myself to listen to music.
when you talked about visiting George and fishing, I know he loves fishing to death.
Hmm. And
What?
painting too.
Yeah,
He's a
dude.
badass painter.
During the pandemic, I purchased three of his pieces.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
What everyday activities are you proficient in that we would be shocked that you partake in?
Boy, I don't do nothing but music, unfortunately, and just buy quilts off Etsy. Yep.
Okay, you
I
you
don't do nothing.
you buy quilts off like you can crochet and knit.
No, I don't crochet, but I buy them. I have an eye for quilts. Yep.
Okay, that's all
Yep.
right.
And
Okay,
sometimes I dabble into a little painting and see if I can tap into my abstract expressionism stuff. But I really just do music, man. I sit behind my computer and just try to create and just post it and do it again, post it, do it again, post it. Yep.
when do you first wake up in the morning? Like what time do you typically
The
wake
morning I
up?
wake up about in the afternoon.
Okay, because
I'm
what
one
time
of
do you go to
those
sleep then?
uh probably about 5 in the morning.
Okay. What
I be on my phone doom scrolling and shit and just trying to figure out what next video I can do or typing in my phone like voice memos or some melody I be hearing. That happens like a lot. I got so much shit.
I was gonna say when you get an idea for a melody and there's no acts around to really record it, like you just have to suffer where you are with your voice memo until you get home to record it.
Usually, and there's some stuff in here that I don't even go back to, but sometimes I do, but I rarely go back to my voice memos. You know,
Can
I be,
you once you go to your voice memos, can you still make out? Does it still sound the same in your?
no, sometimes it don't.
Don't you hate that shit?
Man, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was like, going crazy, but yeah, it don't sound the same sometimes.
Yeah, I'll sing a song for an hour, each part, each
That's
bass
funny.
line, each, and then I'll go back to the next day.
Yep,
And it's just like,
yep, yep. That's funny. Okay.
all right. So my final two questions:
Yep.
when you were younger, what was your version of making it?
When I was younger, honestly, bro, playing with the barcades, I just wanted to play with the barcades, pretty
Okay,
much. I'm just an old spirited person, but yeah, that was my making it thing, just being on stage with the barcades because I used to just envision my dad just being up there just funking out and stuff. But yeah, that was one of those things, or playing with Mavis Staples,
hmm,
or playing with a big gospel choir, because the church was a big influence on me. But
gotcha.
yeah, it was one of those things, just a simple thing. Yep.
So even now, with where Memphis stands, um, be it like new acts or even legendary acts, Glorilla, Yo Gotti, or even back to Project Pat or 3 6
Hmm.
Mafia or even 8 Ball MJG. Like as far as the
Hmm.
hip hop community is concerned, have you done or had a desire to do any collaborations at all?
Yeah, I would love to. Glorilla is one of my favorites right now, to be honest. She's straight
Okay,
up Memphis. But yeah, I want to do something with 8 Ball MJG, you know.
got it,
But
got it.
I never
Got it.
just never. I tried to get do something with Project Pat, but that
Yes.
didn't work out. But yeah, man, I've always wanted to, to do that, but it's just never, worked out. I want to do something with Player Fly. I want to do something with Gangsta Boo, but she's no longer here. Rest her soul.
Damn, rest her soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a Project Pat root song that probably won't ever see the light of day.
Oh,
No, Pat's one of our favorites. Like
hell yeah,
that's once a
man.
week always plays on the tour bus. So
Mhm.
my final question is: when all is said and done, what is it that you would like us to say about you and your art?
Uh, I guess I can just use one word, and it's very cliche, but just freedom. You know, not too deep. It's just freedom, and just having to the freedom to be free. I guess I know that's very cliche, but just freedom, just freedom.
George Clinton once said, I think he said, true freedom is not having the need to be free.
Yeah, man. That's why I'm at.
DJ, brother MonoNeon,
Yep.
I'm very grateful and thankful that you are here
I
to
appreciate it.
show us the light, and which is just with your overall creativity. I'm a massive fan, and I thank you for granting me a one man audience to get all my nerdy questions out. And
It's
thank
all
you
good.
for being on the Questlove show.
Yep.
Thank you so much,
Yep.
and to all of you listening, we will see you next week on the next go round of the Questlove show. Thank you.
Bye bye.
The Questlove show is hosted by me, Amir Questlove Thompson. The executive producers are Sean G., Brian Calhoun, and me. Produced by Brittany Benjamin and Jake Payne. Produced for iHeart by Noel Brown. Edited by Alex Conroy. iHeart video support by Mark Canton. Logos, graphics, and animation by Nick Paloe. Additional support by Lance Coleman. Special thanks to Kathy Wrong. Special thanks to Sugar Steve Mandel. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share the Questlove Show wherever you stream your podcast. Make sure you follow us on socials. That's at QLS. Check out hundreds and hundreds of QLS episodes, including the Questlove Supreme shows in our podcast archives. Questlove Show is a production of iHeart Radio.